Commander Velis stood on the bridge of his warship, looking at the small blue planet on the screen. His scales gleamed under the cold lights as he touched the display with his clawed hand. The planet rotated slowly, showing green lands and blue oceans. It looked peaceful. It looked weak. Another easy conquest, Velis said to his second officer, Grath. This will be our 48th victory. Grath nodded, his three eyes blinking in sequence. The scans show primitive technology, Commander. They still use chemical rockets. They haven't even colonized their own moon properly. This should take no more than 3 solar cycles. Velis smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Begin the invasion. Target their major population centers. I want this planet begging for mercy by nightfall. The Vrel fleet moved closer to Earth. 50 massive ships, each one capable of destroying a city with a single blast. They had done this 47 times before. They had never failed. They had never even been challenged. Far below, on the surface of Earth, Captain Daeho Kim stood on the deck of his destroyer. The morning sun was rising over the Pacific Ocean. His ship was part of joint military exercises with the American fleet. It was supposed to be a routine day. Captain, we're detecting something strange, said Unji Park, his communications officer. She was young, barely 25, but she had sharp eyes and sharper instincts. There are atmospheric disturbances, multiple signatures entering the upper atmosphere. Daeho picked up his binoculars and looked at the sky. At first, he saw nothing. Then he saw them. Streaks of light, dozens of them, falling from the sky like shooting stars. But these stars were falling too slowly. These stars were controlled. Sound General Quarters, Daeho ordered. Get me command on the line. Now. In Geneva, Ambassador Minho Choi was giving a speech to the United Nations. The room was half empty. Most delegates were on their phones or looking bored. Minho had been trying to convince them to increase funding for global defense coordination for 3 years. Nobody listened. Nobody cared. We must be prepared, Minho said, his voice echoing in the large chamber. We live in a universe we don't understand. We must be ready for anything. A delegate from France yawned. Another from Brazil checked his watch. Then every phone in the room started ringing at once. The first Vrel plasma beam hit Seoul at 6:47 a.m. local time. The blast vaporized a 3-block area in seconds. The shockwave shattered windows for miles. Car alarms screamed. People ran in every direction, not knowing where to go or what was happening. More beams fell from the sky. New York, Moscow, Beijing, London, Tokyo. Every major city on Earth suddenly found itself under attack from weapons they had never seen before. Corporal Jin Woo Han was on patrol duty at the DMZ between North and South Korea when the attack began. He saw the explosions in Seoul, saw the pillars of fire rising into the sky. Then he saw something else, shapes descending from the clouds. Large, angular shapes that didn't look like any aircraft he had ever seen. Get to positions, his sergeant shouted. Jinwoo ran to his gun emplacement, his heart pounding. The DMZ was the most heavily fortified border on Earth. Millions of mines, thousands of artillery pieces, decades of preparation for an invasion from the north. The aliens were about to learn that they had landed in the worst possible place. The Vrel transport ships touched down in the DMZ. Hatches opened. Soldiers marched out, wearing powered armor that made them 7 feet tall. They carried weapons that hummed with energy. They had conquered 47 worlds. They expected the locals to run in terror. Instead, they heard a sound. A mechanical click, repeated thousands of times. Then the ground exploded. The mines had been waiting for 50 years. They didn't care if the target was human or alien. The first wave of Vrel soldiers disappeared in clouds of fire and shrapnel. Fire! 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 Jinwoo's sergeant screamed. Every gun in the DMZ opened up at once. Machine guns, artillery, mortars, rockets. The aliens had shields, But the shields were designed for energy weapons. They had never faced simple bullets and explosives. The shields flickered and died under the storm of metal. Jinwoo pulled the trigger on his K2 rifle, watching the aliens fall. They were tough. They were strong. But they bled. And anything that bled could be killed. On his destroyer, Daeho watched as alien ships descended over the fleet. The American admiral was shouting orders over the radio. The Japanese ships were already firing. Nobody knew what they were fighting, but they knew how to fight. Load all missiles, Daeho ordered. Target the nearest ship. Fire on my command. Captain, we don't know if our weapons will work, Unji said. Then we'll find out, Daeho replied. Fire. The missiles streaked into the sky, leaving trails of white smoke. The alien ship tried to dodge, but it was too slow, too confident. The missiles hit the hull and exploded. The ship shuddered. Pieces of armor plating fell into the ocean. The aliens could be hurt. On the Vrel flagship, alarms were blaring. Grath stared at the incoming damage reports, his 3 eyes wide with shock. Commander, we have casualties. The ground forces are reporting heavy resistance. The primitives are fighting back. Velis laughed. Of course they're fighting back. Animals always struggle before they die. Send in the second wave. Crush them. But the reports kept coming. More casualties. More losses. The Vrel soldiers were trained to fight against energy weapons and organized military formations. They weren't ready for mines that had been buried for decades. They weren't ready for artillery that could fire from 20 miles away. They weren't ready for soldiers who had been training for war since they were children. In Geneva, Minho watched the news feeds from around the world. Every channel showed the same thing. Explosions, fires, alien ships in the sky, and humans fighting back with everything they had. His phone rang. It was the Secretary General. Minho, we need you. Emergency meeting. Every nation. Right now. Minho ran to the conference room. This time, every seat was filled. Delegates who had ignored him for years now looked at him with desperate eyes. What do we do? Someone asked. Minho looked at the screen showing the attacks. He thought about every war in human history. Every battle. Every victory. And every defeat. Humans had been fighting for thousands of years. They had fought with sticks and stones. They had fought with swords and spears. They had fought with guns and tanks and nuclear weapons. They had always been fighting someone. We do what we do best, Minho said quietly. We fight, and we win. Around the world, the message went out. Every military base, every soldier, every sailor, every pilot. The aliens had made a mistake. They had attacked Earth. They had attacked humanity. They had started a war. And humanity had been preparing for war since the first human picked up a rock to defend their cave. The Vrel thought this would be easy. They thought it would be over in days. They had checked their star charts. They had scanned the planet. They had counted the weapons. But they had forgotten to check one thing. They had forgotten to check the planet's name. Earth. And Earth was done being nice. 2 days had passed since the invasion began. The Vrel Empire expected to be celebrating victory. Instead, Commander Velis was staring at casualty reports that made no sense. Explain this to me again, Velis said, his voice dangerously quiet. How have we lost 12 landing ships and 3,000 soldiers to a primitive species? Grath pulled up holographic displays showing battle footage. Commander, our intelligence was wrong. Very wrong. These humans, they don't just have weapons. They have thousands of different types of weapons. And they know how to use all of them. The footage showed human soldiers using tactics the Vrel had never encountered. Ambushes from buildings. Attacks from underground tunnels. Traps that used the Vrel's own technology against them. And everywhere, bullets. So many bullets. Our shields were designed to stop plasma and laser weapons, Grath continued. These humans barely use energy weapons. They throw metal. Fast metal. Our shields don't stop it effectively. Velas slammed his fist on the console. Then, adapt. Change the shield frequencies. And, we're trying, Commander. But every time we adapt, they change their tactics. It's like they've been doing this for what? For their entire existence, sir. At KST University in South Korea, Dr. Sora Yoon hadn't slept in 48 hours. Her laboratory was filled with pieces of crashed Vrel ships. Scientists from 20 different countries were working together, taking apart alien technology and figuring out how it worked. Sora held up a piece of Vrel armor plating. She had shot it with lasers, plasma, and various energy weapons. The material barely showed damage. Then she had shot it with a simple 9mm pistol. The bullet went right through. That's it, she said, her eyes bright despite her exhaustion. Their technology is amazing against energy weapons, but they never developed good defense against kinetic weapons. They never needed to. A British scientist looked up from his workstation. Why not? Because, Sora said, pulling up data on her screen. Every species they conquered before us had moved beyond bullets and bombs. They all used energy weapons. We're the only ones still throwing rocks. She smiled. And we've gotten very good at throwing rocks. Sora immediately sent her findings to military commands around the world. Within hours, human forces were adapting. If energy weapons didn't work well, they would use what did work. Bullets, missiles, artillery shells. Humanity had plenty of those. In the ruins of Seoul, Colonel Taejin Park led a combined force of South Korean and American soldiers through the shattered streets. The city was a war zone, but it was his war zone. He knew every street, every building, every subway tunnel. Squad 3, take position in that apartment building, Taejin ordered. Squad 5, set up the mortars behind the department store. Wait for my signal. A Vrel patrol moved down the street, their power armor making them look like walking tanks. They were scanning for humans, confident in their superior technology. They didn't notice the windows above them. They didn't notice the subway entrance behind them. Taejin raised his hand. Then he dropped it. The apartment building erupted with gunfire. Hundreds of rounds hit the Vrel patrol from above. At the same time, soldiers emerged from the subway tunnel, firing rocket-propelled grenades at close range. The Vrel shields flickered and died. The aliens fell. Move! Collect their weapons and fall back! Taejin shouted. A woman ran out from a damaged building, carrying a laptop and a bag of tools. She was wearing a hard hat and a vest that said, Seoul Metropolitan Infrastructure. Colonel Park, she shouted. I'm Hyerin Lee, city engineer. I can help you. Taejin looked at her. This is a combat zone. You need to evacuate. Evacuate to where? Hyerin shot back. The whole city is a combat zone. But I know every tunnel, every power line, every water pipe in this city. I can help you fight. Taejin made a decision. Fine. You're drafted. Welcome to the war. Hyerin smiled and pulled out blueprints of the city's underground systems. Good. Because I have ideas. At sea, Captain Daeho Kim was learning that naval warfare was something the Vrel had never experienced before. Their empire had conquered planets, but most of their battles were in space or on land. They had never fought an enemy that came from beneath the water. Submarine Ulsan reports enemy landing ship in range, Unji said. Daeho looked at the tactical display. The Vrel ship was hovering over the water, unloading troops. It was a perfect target. Tell Ulsan to fire at will. Deep below the surface, a South Korean submarine launched 4 torpedoes. The Vrel ship never saw them coming. The explosions tore through the hull. The ship crashed into the ocean, sinking in minutes. On the Vrel flagship, more alarms blared. Grath was receiving reports from naval battles around the world. Japanese submarines had sunk 2 more landing ships. An American carrier group had destroyed a Vrel supply vessel. Even worse, the humans were capturing Vrel technology and learning from it. Commander, Grath said carefully, I think we need to reconsider our strategy. These humans are more dangerous than we thought. Dangerous? Velis laughed, but it sounded forced. They're primitives, with primitive weapons. Primitives who are winning, Grath said quietly. Velis turned to glare at him. What did you say? Grath pulled up statistics. In the last 48 hours, we've lost 18% of our invasion force. We've never lost more than 2% in any previous conquest. And our losses are increasing. The humans are learning faster than we can adapt. That's impossible. I've intercepted their communications, Grath said. They're sharing information across their entire planet. Every time we use a new tactic, every time we deploy a new weapon, they analyze it and develop a counter-strategy. Within hours, every human military force knows about it. Velis stared at the screen showing Earth. How many nations do they have? F. Approximately 195, sir. And they're all fighting us? Yes, Commander. Even the nations that were at war with each other have stopped fighting and united against us. Velis felt something he had never felt before in 47 conquests. Doubt. There's something else, Grath said. I've been analyzing their history. Commander, these humans have been fighting wars for their entire recorded history. They've been fighting each other for thousands of years. They have weapons from every era of their development, and they still know how to use all of them. So we invaded a planet where war is part of their culture, where every nation maintains a standing army, where children play with toy weapons, where their entertainment is filled with stories about war and fighting. Commander, we didn't invade a peaceful planet. We invaded a planet of warriors. In Geneva, Ambassador Minho Choi stood before the United Earth Defense Council. It was a name they had invented 3 hours ago, but it sounded official enough. Every nation had sent representatives. For the first time in history, the whole world was working together. We have advantages, Minho said, pointing to a map of Earth. We know this planet. We know how to fight here. The aliens don't. We can use that. A Russian general stood up. We should coordinate our attacks. Stop fighting separately. Hit them as one force. A Chinese admiral nodded. Agreed. And we should share all intelligence immediately. Every weakness we find, every tactic that works, we share it with everyone. Minho looked around the room. Nations that had been enemies for decades were now working together. It was almost funny. It had taken an alien invasion to unite humanity. One more thing, said an American general. We need to go on the offensive. Stop reacting. Start attacking. Show these aliens that Earth fights back. Around the table, every representative nodded. The Vrel thought they were hunting prey. They were about to learn that they had walked into a nest of predators. And on Earth, the predators had nuclear weapons. Commander Velis ordered a second orbital bombardment, hoping to break human morale. But Captain Daeho Kim had other plans. He assembled a flotilla of ships, loaded them with nuclear weapons, and sailed them directly under the Vrel fleet. This is insane, Yunji said, watching the plan unfold. Probably, Daeho agreed. But it'll work. Launch on my mark. The missiles flew upward, modified to work in the thin atmosphere of near orbit. The Vrel ships tried to shoot them down, but there were too many. 3 Vrel capital ships exploded in massive fireballs that could be seen from the ground. Velis watched his ships burn and finally understood. These humans weren't going to surrender. They were going to fight until one side was completely destroyed. And looking at the casualty reports, Velis was no longer sure which side that would be. 1 week had passed since the invasion began. The Vrel Empire was discovering that conquering Earth was very different from conquering other planets. On other worlds, the locals surrendered after the first attack. On Earth, the first attack just made humans angry. Ambassador Minho Choi walked into the United Earth Defense Council chamber. Every seat was filled. Military commanders from every continent were present, either in person or via video link. The room buzzed with different languages, all being translated in real time. "Ladies and gentlemen," Minho began, "we have survived the first week. Now we take back our planet." A holographic map of Earth appeared, showing Vrel positions in red and human forces in blue. There was a lot of red, but the blue was growing. "The Asian theater is critical," Minho said. "General Junho Kwon will coordinate all forces in that region." General Junho Kwon stood up. He was a tall man with gray hair and eyes that had seen too many wars. But now, those eyes were burning with determination. "We have a unique opportunity," Junho said. "For the first time in 70 years, North and South Korea are fighting on the same side. We will use this. Operation Typhoon will launch in 48 hours. A North Korean general appeared on one of the video screens. "Our forces are ready, General Kwon. We will show these aliens what Korean soldiers can do." A South Korean admiral nodded. "Agreed. We've been preparing for war on the peninsula for decades. The aliens just gave us a common enemy." In Seoul, Colonel Taejin Park was using the city's infrastructure as a weapon. Hyerin Lee had shown him things he never knew existed. Secret tunnels, built during the Cold War, underground rivers that could flood enemy positions, power grids that could be weaponized. "The aliens are setting up a command post in Gangnam," Hyerin said, pointing to her laptop screen. "But, look at this." She showed Taejin a schematic of the area. Beneath the alien command post was an old subway tunnel that had been abandoned 20 years ago. "We can plant explosives here, here, and here," Hyerin said, marking spots on the map. "When we detonate, the entire building collapses into the tunnel. The aliens won't know what hit them." Taejin smiled. "You're really good at this." "I'm a civil engineer," Hyerin said. "I build cities. Now I'm unbuilding them. On top of aliens." They led a team through the abandoned tunnel that night. It was dark and filled with water, but they moved quietly. Above them, Vrel soldiers patrolled, never suspecting that humans were right beneath their feet. They placed the explosives carefully. Hyerin checked each charge personally, making sure they would create a controlled collapse. This wasn't just destruction. This was precision demolition. "Everyone out," Taejin whispered. "We blow it in 5 minutes." They ran back through the tunnel. Behind them, the timer counted down. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. The explosion was enormous. The building didn't just collapse, it fell perfectly into the tunnel, taking 200 Vrel soldiers with it. The command post was gone in seconds. In the sky above Korea, Lieutenant Bora Shin was making history. She was the first human pilot to shoot down a Vrel fighter using modified weapons. Her F-35 had been upgraded with technology that Dr. Sora Yoon's team had developed. The missiles were faster, the targeting was better, and the weapons actually worked against Vrel shields. "Target locked," Bora said calmly. "Fox 2. The missile streaked through the air and hit the Vrel fighter. The alien ship exploded in a ball of fire. Bora's radio erupted with cheers from other pilots. "That's 47, someone shouted. "She's an ace." Bora didn't celebrate. She was already locking on to the next target. There were still too many Vrel ships in the sky. She wouldn't stop until they were all gone. Behind her flew pilots from 12 different nations. Americans, Japanese, British, French, German, Indian, Australian. They couldn't always understand each other's languages, but they understood combat. They flew in perfect formation, covering each other, fighting as one unit. "Vrel bombers incoming," her wingman said. He was American, from Texas. "Bora, you take the left group. I'll take the right." "Understood," Bora replied. They dove into the enemy formation, guns blazing. The Vrel bombers were tough, but they were designed for bombing ground targets, not for dogfighting. Against experienced fighter pilots, they didn't stand a chance. On the Vrel flagship, Commander Velis was watching his invasion fall apart. Every day brought new disasters. Every battle brought more casualties. He had sent for reinforcements, but they wouldn't arrive for another week. "Commander," Grath said nervously, "we've intercepted a message from the humans. It's addressed to you personally. Play it." Velis ordered. Ambassador Minho Choi's face appeared on the screen. He was sitting in a chair, looking calm and composed. Behind him was the flag of Earth, a new flag showing all the nations united. "Commander Velis," Minho said, "I am Ambassador Minho Choi, speaking for the United Earth Defense Council. We offer you one chance to surrender. Leave our planet now, and we will let you go. Stay, and we will destroy you. You have 24 hours to decide." Velis laughed. "Surrender?" He turned off the screen and looked at Grath. "Send them a message. Tell them we will never surrender. Tell them we will burn their planet to ashes." Grath hesitated. "Commander, perhaps we should consider—" "No," Velis roared. "We are the Vrel Empire. We have conquered 47 worlds. We will not be defeated by humans." But even as he said it, Velis knew the truth. The humans were winning. Not because they had better technology, not because they had bigger armies, but because they had been preparing for this kind of war for their entire existence. Every human nation had weapons. Every human nation had soldiers. Every human nation knew how to fight. They had been fighting each other for thousands of years, developing tactics and strategies that the Vrel had never encountered. And now, all of those nations were fighting together. Captain Daeho Kim was leading a task force of ships from 7 different navies: Korean, American, Japanese, Chinese, Russian, British, and French ships, all working together. It was the most powerful naval force ever assembled. "Enemy landing ships detected," Unji said. "They're trying to bring in reinforcements." Daeho looked at the tactical display. The Vrel ships were entering Earth's atmosphere, heading for landing zones. They had to be stopped. "All ships, prepare for coordinated strike. Fire on my command." 150 missiles launched simultaneously from the combined fleet. The sky filled with smoke trails. The Vrel landing ships tried to evade, but there were too many missiles. One by one, the alien ships fell from the sky, crashing into the ocean. "Target destroyed," Unji reported. No enemy ships reached the landing zone. Daeho allowed himself a small smile. "Good. Send the message to all units. No Vrel reinforcements get through. We control Earth's oceans." In the DMZ, Sergeant Jinwoo Han was training soldiers from other countries. His area had become famous for being the place where the Vrel invasion had failed most spectacularly. Now, everyone wanted to learn his tactics. "The key is not to fight fair," Jinwoo explained to a group of American and European soldiers. "Use every advantage. Hide. Ambush. Use traps. The aliens are stronger than us, but we're smarter." Private Yuna Kang demonstrated by taking down a captured piece of Vrel power armor using nothing but shaped charges placed at weak points. The armor collapsed like a tin can. "See?" Jinwoo said. "Every armor has weaknesses. Every shield has limits. Find them. Exploit them. Win." The soldiers nodded, taking notes. They had come to learn from the best, and Jinwoo was teaching them everything he knew. As the sun set on the 7th day of the invasion, General Junho Kwon stood on a hill overlooking Seoul. The city was damaged, but it was still standing. The Vrel controlled parts of it, but humans were taking it back. Street by street, building by building. His radio crackled. "General, all units, report ready for Operation Typhoon." Junho looked at the Vrel positions. Tomorrow, they would launch the largest coordinated attack in human history. Forces from 20 nations, all striking at once. all across Asia. Begin the operation at dawn, Junho ordered. Show the Vrel what happens when they attack Earth. The word went out to every unit, every soldier, every pilot, every sailor. Tomorrow, humanity would stop defending. Tomorrow, humanity would attack. And the Vrel Empire was about to learn that humans didn't just fight to survive. They fought to win. 3 weeks into the invasion, the Vrel Empire was learning a painful lesson. They had underestimated humanity. Badly. Commander Velis stood in his command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing battle after battle, defeat after defeat. The reinforcements he had called for had arrived. But they weren't enough. Nothing was enough against these humans. How? He whispered. How are they doing this? Grath pulled up footage from battles around the world. They adapt faster than any species we've ever encountered. Every time we change tactics, they counter within hours. Every time we deploy a new weapon, they find a weakness within days. One screen showed Dr. Sora Yoon's laboratory in South Korea. Scientists from dozens of nations worked side by side, taking apart Vrel technology and building new weapons. They had created hybrid devices that used both human and Vrel technology, but optimized for human warfare. That woman, Velis pointed at Sora on the screen. She's responsible for half our losses. Can we eliminate her? We've tried, Commander. 12 assassination attempts. She's guarded by soldiers from 6 different nations. We can't get close to her. Another screen showed Lieutenant Bora Shin leading a squadron of fighters. She had shot down 63 Vrel aircraft. She was famous on Earth now. Humans called her the Hawk of Soul. NS. By. Ver. And her? Velis asked. 74 attempts, sir. She's too good. And she's training other pilots. We're losing air superiority across the entire planet. Velis wanted to break something. The Vrel Empire had conquered 47 worlds. They had weapons that could destroy mountains. They had soldiers in armor that could withstand plasma fire. They had technology that was thousands of years ahead of Earth. But they were losing. In Seoul, Colonel Taejin Park and Hyerin Lee were leading the final assault to liberate the city. 3 weeks of brutal fighting had pushed the Vrel back, street by street. Now, only the city center remained in alien hands. Ready? Taejin asked. Hyerin checked her laptop one more time. She had spent days planning this attack, using her knowledge of the city's infrastructure to create the perfect trap. Ready, she confirmed. When they retreat, they'll fall back to the central plaza. That's where we get them. The attack began at dawn. Human forces hit the Vrel from all directions. Artillery rained down from the hills. Tanks rolled through the streets. Soldiers moved from building to building, clearing out alien positions. The Vrel fought back hard, but they were surrounded. Their commander ordered a retreat to the central plaza, just as Hyerin had predicted. 2,000 Vrel soldiers gathered in the plaza, setting up defensive positions. They thought they were safe. They thought the plaza was a good defensive position. They didn't know that Hyerin had spent a week rigging every building around the plaza with explosives. They didn't know that she had redirected gas lines and power cables to create a massive trap. Now, Taejin said quietly. Hyerin pressed the button. The plaza exploded. Not just one building, but all of them, falling inward, creating a killing zone that no one could escape. Fire and debris rained down on the Vrel soldiers. Their shields couldn't protect them from buildings falling on their heads. When the dust cleared, Seoul was free. The Vrel presence in the city was destroyed. Taejin and Hyerin stood on a rooftop, watching Korean flags being raised over the buildings. We did it, Hyerin said softly. Taejin put his arm around her shoulders. You did it. You saved the city. We saved the city, Hyerin corrected. All of us. Together. In the skies above the Pacific Ocean, Lieutenant Bora Shin was leading a massive airstrike against the Vrel fleet. 200 aircraft from 12 nations flew in formation. They had one goal: destroy the alien capital ships. All squadrons, this is Hawk Leader. Bora said calmly. We go in fast, we hit hard, we get out. Remember your training. Watch your wingmen. Let's show these aliens that Earth's skies belong to us. The fighters accelerated, breaking the sound barrier. Behind them flew bombers carrying weapons designed by Dr. Sora Yoon. These weren't normal bombs. These were kinetic penetrators, designed specifically to punch through Vrel shields. The Vrel fleet opened fire. Energy beams filled the sky. Several human aircraft were hit, but the formation didn't break. The pilots were too well trained, too experienced. Target locked, Bora said. All squadrons, weapons free. The bombers released their payloads. Hundreds of kinetic penetrators fell toward the Vrel ships. The alien shields tried to stop them. But these weapons were too fast, too heavy. They punched through the shields and tore into the ships' hulls. Explosions rippled across 3 Vrel capital ships. One of them started falling from the sky, trailing fire and debris. Confirmed hit, someone shouted over the radio. Capital ship going down. Bora didn't celebrate. All squadrons, return to base. We'll come back for the others tomorrow. The fighters turned and headed home. Behind them, the damaged Vrel ship crashed into the ocean, creating a wave that could be seen for miles. On the Vrel flagship, alarms were screaming. Grath was trying to coordinate damage control while monitoring the battle reports. It was hopeless. They were losing on every front. Commander, Grath said, his voice shaking. We need to retreat. We can't win this. No, Velis shouted. We are the Vrel Empire. We do not retreat. We've lost 60% of our invasion force. The humans have captured 15 of our ships. They're using our own technology against us. Commander, we have to. An explosion rocked the flagship. Warning lights flashed red. What was that? Velis demanded. Missile strike from below. Human ships are attacking from the ocean surface. Commander, they've equipped their ships with our weapons. They're using Vrel plasma cannons mounted on human warships. Captain Daeho Kim stood on the bridge of his destroyer, watching the Vrel flagship through his binoculars. His ship now carried a captured Vrel plasma cannon, mounted where the main gun used to be. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. Fire again, Daeho ordered. The plasma cannon fired, sending a bolt of blue energy into the Vrel flagship's shields. The shields flickered. They were weakening. Around him, ships from the United Earth Defense Fleet were doing the same thing. Korean, American, Chinese, Japanese, Russian ships, all equipped with captured Vrel weapons. Humanity was using the aliens' own technology against them. Target their main engines, Daeho said. Let's bring that ship down. A Chinese destroyer fired a salvo of missiles. An American cruiser hit the flagship with railgun fire. A British submarine launched torpedoes from below. All at once, a coordinated strike from multiple directions. The Vrel flagship's shields collapsed. The engines exploded. The massive ship started falling from the sky. Slowly. At first, then faster. All ships, clear the impact zone, Daeho ordered. The flagship hit the ocean like a meteor. The impact created a wave, 50 feet high. When the water settled, the ship was gone, sinking into the depths. On the bridge of a nearby Vrel cruiser, Grath watched his commander's ship disappear beneath the waves. Velis was dead. The invasion fleet was broken. More than half their ships were destroyed or captured. The humans were winning. Grath made a decision. He activated the communication system and broadcast on all frequencies. This is Second Commander Grath of the Vrel Empire, he said. I am authorized to negotiate surrender terms. 18C. In Geneva, Ambassador Minho Choi received the message. He looked at the assembled representatives of the United Earth Defense Council. Every eye was on him. Do we accept their surrender? Asked a French general. No, said an American admiral. We dictate terms. Total terms. Minho nodded slowly. 3 weeks ago, they attacked us without warning. They tried to conquer our planet. They killed millions of our people. Now, they want to surrender? He looked around the room. We accept their surrender, but on our terms. Complete and total. They give us everything. Technology, ships, information, reparations, and they never come back. Around the table, every representative nodded in agreement. Minho opened the channel to Grath. Your surrender is accepted, but you will do exactly as we say. Land your ships in designated areas. Disarm completely. Provide all technical specifications for your technology. And then you will leave our solar system and never return. On his screen, Grath looked defeated. One more thing, Minho said coldly. You will broadcast a message to your empire. You will tell them exactly what happened here. You will tell them that Earth is not to be touched. Ever. Do you understand? Yes, Grath said quietly. I understand. The war was over. Humanity had won. But as Minho looked at the screens, showing the destruction across the planet, he knew this was just the beginning. The Vrel had come to Earth, looking for an easy conquest. Instead, they had awakened something. They had forced humanity to unite, to fight as one, to reach for the stars. The galaxy was about to learn that Earth was not a planet to be conquered. Earth was a planet that would do the conquering, and humanity was ready. 2 months after the invasion began, Earth looked very different. Cities were being rebuilt. But more importantly, humanity was building something new. Something the galaxy had never seen before. In orbit above Earth, workers from 20 nations assembled the first ship of the United Earth Defense Fleet. It wasn't just a human ship. It was a hybrid, combining Vrel technology with human engineering, and it was powerful. Dr. Sora Yoon floated in zero gravity, inspecting the ship's main weapons array. She had spent 8 weeks designing this vessel, incorporating everything she had learned from captured Vrel technology, but she had made it better, faster, stronger. The shields are optimized for both energy and kinetic weapons, Sora explained to the engineers around her. The Vrel only protected against energy. We learned from that mistake. This ship can take anything. An American engineer looked at the design specs on his tablet. And the weapons? Sora smiled. Plasma cannons from Vrel technology, railguns from human technology, missile systems that use both. And one more thing. She pulled up a schematic showing a massive weapon mounted along the ship's spine. This is something the Vrel never invented. A kinetic accelerator. It fires a solid tungsten rod at near light speed. The Vrel focused on energy weapons and forgot that sometimes you just need to throw a really big rock really fast. The engineers laughed. Humanity had taken the aliens' advanced technology and added human creativity. The result was terrifying. What are we calling this ship? Someone asked. Sora looked at the massive vessel. The Indomitable. The first of 200. We're going to build. In Geneva, Ambassador Minho Choi was meeting with the Vrel negotiator. Grath sat across from him, looking smaller somehow. Defeated. The proud alien warrior who had helped invade Earth now looked like he just wanted to go home. These are the final terms, Minho said, sliding a document across the table. Complete technology transfer, full reparations for all damages, and permanent withdrawal from this sector of space. Grath looked at the document. The terms were harsh. The Vrel Empire would lose face. They would lose resources. They would lose their reputation as conquerors. If we accept these terms, Grath said quietly, the Empire will fall. Other species will see us as weak. They'll attack us. Then you should have thought of that before attacking us, Minho replied without sympathy. You came to Earth expecting an easy victory. You killed millions of our people. You destroyed our cities. Now, you pay the price. Grath signed the document. His hand shook as he wrote his name. There's one more thing, Minho said. You need to broadcast a message to your empire and to the rest of the galaxy. You need to tell them what happened here. I already agreed to that. No, you don't understand. We're not just asking you to tell them you lost. We're asking you to tell them why you lost. Tell them about Earth. Tell them about humanity. Make sure everyone knows what happens when someone attacks us. Grath looked up. You want to use us as a warning. Exactly. 3 days later, the broadcast went out across Vrel communication networks. Grath stood in front of a camera, looking directly at his people. I am Second Commander Grath, speaking from the human planet called Earth. I must report that our invasion has failed. The Vrel Empire has suffered its first defeat in 300 years. He paused, gathering his courage. We attacked a planet we thought was primitive. We were wrong. The humans possess weapons and tactics we never anticipated. They united their entire world against us. They learned from our technology faster than we could adapt. They fought with a ferocity and creativity we had never encountered. Grath looked tired. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is that the humans were holding back. During our invasion, we discovered that they possess weapons capable of destroying entire continents. Nuclear weapons, biological weapons, chemical weapons. They have weapons that can end all life on their planet. And during our invasion, they barely used them. He let that sink in. They defeated us with conventional weapons. They defeated us with bullets and bombs and missiles. Things they invented hundreds of years ago. They didn't need their most powerful weapons to beat us. Grath leaned closer to the camera. To all species in the galaxy, do not attack Earth. Do not threaten humanity. They are not prey. They are predators. And they have been preparing for war since they first discovered fire. The broadcast ended. Across the Vrel Empire, across multiple star systems, the message was received. Earth was not to be touched. On Earth, reconstruction was happening at an incredible pace. But more importantly, expansion was beginning. General Junho Quan stood in the command center of the first human colony on a former Vrel outpost. The base was located 3 light-years from Earth, in a system the Vrel had abandoned after their defeat. All systems operational, reported a technician. The colony is ready. Junho looked out the viewport at the alien world below. It was smaller than Earth, with purple vegetation and pink skies. But it was habitable. And it was humanity's first foothold among the stars. Begin colonization procedures, Junho ordered. This is just the first. There will be many more. Colonel Taejin Park and Hyerin Lee arrived on the colony ship 3 days later. They had gotten married in a military ceremony in Seoul. And this was their honeymoon. A honeymoon on an alien world, establishing humanity's first off-world colony. It's beautiful, Hyerin said, looking at the pink sky. Taejin put his arm around her. We're going to build something here. Something new. A human world among the stars. Hyerin smiled and pulled out her laptop. Then we better start planning the infrastructure. This city is going to need power, water, transportation. Taejin laughed. You never stop working, do you? Neither do you, Hyerin pointed out. Back on Earth, Captain Daeho Kim was promoted to Admiral. He was given command of humanity's first interstellar fleet. 50 ships, all equipped with hybrid human Vrel technology. His flagship was the Indomitable, fresh from the orbital shipyards. Admiral on deck, Unji called out as Daeho entered the bridge. She was now his second in command, promoted to commander for her service during the war. Daeho looked around the bridge. The crew was multinational. Korean, American, Japanese, Chinese, Russian, European. The best humanity had to offer. Set course for the outer colonies, Daeho ordered. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity can do. The Indomitable's engines powered up, and the massive ship began to move. Behind it, 49 other vessels fell into formation. The United Earth Defense Fleet was operational. Lieutenant Bora Shin, now promoted to commander, led the fleet's air group. She commanded 5 squadrons of hybrid fighters, each one faster and more powerful than anything the Vrel had ever built. "All squadrons report ready," Bora said over the comm. "We're ready to launch on your order, Admiral." "Hold position for now, Commander," Deho replied. "But stay ready. We don't know what's out there." In orbit above Earth, the construction of new ships continued. Every day, more vessels joined the fleet. Humanity had learned from the Vrel invasion. They would never be caught unprepared again. Dr. Sora Yoon was already working on the next generation of ships. Bigger ships. Faster ships. Ships that could cross the galaxy in weeks instead of months. "We're going to explore everything," Sora said to her team. "Every star. Every planet. Every corner of space. And if anyone tries to stop us, they'll face the same fate as the Vrel." Sergeant Jinwoo Han retired from active combat duty. He was too old for the front lines now, but not too old to teach. He became the head instructor at the new United Earth Military Academy, training the next generation of soldiers. Private Yuna Kang, now a lieutenant, took his place in the field. She was assigned to the Marine contingent on the Indomitable, ready to fight wherever humanity needed her. "You taught me well, Sergeant," Yuna said, when she visited Jinwoo before shipping out. "I taught you to survive," Jinwoo replied. "Now go out there and teach the galaxy that Earth doesn't lose." 2 months after the Vrel invasion ended, Ambassador Minho Choi gave a speech at the United Nations. The chamber was full. Every nation was represented. The world was paying attention. 2 months ago, we were attacked, Minho began. The Vrel Empire came to Earth, expecting an easy conquest. They thought we were primitive, divided, weak. He paused, looking around the room. They were wrong. We showed them that humanity is strong, that we can unite, that we can fight, that we can win. The chamber erupted in applause. But the Vrel made one critical mistake, Minho continued. They forgot to check the planet's name, Earth. For billions of years, this planet has created life and then tried to kill it. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroids, plagues. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong on this planet. He smiled. And humanity survived all of it. We didn't just survive. We thrived. We conquered this planet. We tamed it. We made it ours. And now, we're going to do the same to the galaxy. More applause, cheering, flags waving. The Vrel came to Earth looking for prey, Minho said. They found predators. They came looking for slaves. They found warriors. They came looking for an easy victory. They found defeat. He raised his voice. And now, Earth ascends. We go to the stars, not as victims, not as refugees, but as conquerors. We go as humanity. And the galaxy will learn what we already know. Minho pointed to the Earth flag behind him. This is our planet. These are our stars. This is our galaxy. And anyone who challenges that will learn the same lesson the Vrel learned. He leaned forward, his eyes burning with intensity. We are Earth. We are humanity. And we are done being prey. OPP. The chamber exploded with sound. Every delegate was on their feet, cheering. The world was united in a way it had never been before. In space, the Indomitable crossed the orbit of Mars, heading for the outer system. Admiral Dae-ho Kim stood on the bridge, looking at the stars ahead. Course laid in for the Vrel border, Unji reported. Good, Dae-ho said. Let's show them that Earth keeps its promises. They wanted us to stay away from them. We agreed. But we're taking everything else. The ship accelerated, moving faster than any human vessel had ever moved before. Behind it, the rest of the fleet followed. Humanity had survived the Vrel invasion. Now humanity would do more than survive. Humanity would expand, would explore, would conquer. The galaxy had made a mistake. They had attacked Earth. They had awakened humanity's potential. They had forced the fractured nations of a single world to unite. And now, united humanity was coming for the stars. The Vrel had asked themselves how they lost. The answer was simple. They had attacked a planet where war was culture, where every nation had armies, where children played with toy weapons, where people told stories about heroes and battles and victories. They had attacked a planet that had been preparing for war for 10,000 years. They had attacked Earth, and Earth never forgot.